If you walk into any hardware store today with a cracked plastic bracket, a stripped bolt hole, or a snapped tool handle, the clerk will point you straight to the chemical aisle. They will sell you a $20 tube of 2-part epoxy, a $15 plastic bonding agent, and a special activator spray. And 90% of the time, 3 weeks later, that joint snaps in the exact same spot under mechanical vibration. Old-timers in traditional machine shops never fell for that marketing trap. Because 40 years before commercial glue companies started charging $45 for plastic weld kits, seasoned craftsmen kept 2 simple household items sitting right next to their bench vise: a 10-cent bottle of liquid cyanoacrylate superglue and a box of standard sodium bicarbonate baking soda. When you combine these 2 ordinary household compounds in the correct physical ratio, you do not get a standard glue bond. You trigger an instantaneous, exothermic radical polymerization reaction that transforms liquid adhesive into a cross-linked acrylic rock with a tensile strength exceeding 3,200 pounds per square inch. It can be drilled, tapped with steel machine threads, ground on a bench wheel, and filed into precision parts. Over the next 10 minutes, I am going to break down the exact molecular science behind this reaction and give you the 5 high-stakes workshop hacks that make broken tools stronger than the day they left the factory floor. To understand why this trick works when every other commercial glue fails, you have to look at what superglue actually is. Commercial superglue is composed of cyanoacrylate monomers. In its liquid state, it relies entirely on microscopic traces of ambient moisture, specifically hydroxide ions in the air, to trigger polymerization. That is why when you spread superglue across a dry plastic crack, it can take 10 minutes to cure, forms a brittle crystalline skin, and provides virtually zero gap-filling capability. When you introduce sodium bicarbonate, you are introducing a dry, concentrated alkaline basic catalyst. The bicarbonate ions instantly donate electrons to the cyanoacrylate carbon double bonds, triggering an explosive, cascading radical chain reaction. Instead of waiting minutes for surface moisture, billions of monomer molecules cross-link within 300 milliseconds. The reaction produces a mild, localized exothermic heat spike of roughly 140 degrees Fahrenheit, driving off all trapped air and fusing the baking soda crystals into a monolithic polymethyl methacrylate composite matrix. In simple terms, the baking soda is not acting as a filler. It is chemically bonding with the cyanoacrylate to create a synthetic acrylic stone that matches the hardness of cast aluminum. Let us start with one of the most frustrating disasters that happens on any homestead: a brass key snapping off flush inside a brass padlock, equipment ignition, or deadbolt cylinder. Most people immediately grab a pair of needle nose pliers, which only pushes the broken fragment deeper into the keyway. Calling an emergency locksmith costs between $150 and $250. Here is the old-timer technique. Take a standard flat-headed steel finish nail or the blunt end of a paperclip. Grind the tip perfectly flat on your bench stone so it has maximum surface contact. Place a single drop of liquid cyanoacrylate onto the blunt metal tip. Dip that wet tip into a pinch of baking soda for half a second, then instantly press it firmly against the exposed cross-section of the broken brass key inside the cylinder. Hold dead still for 5 seconds. The capillary draw between the metal tip and the key fragment forms an instantaneous high-tensile acrylic anchor. Gently pull straight back along the keyway axis. The broken key slides out smoothly with zero damage to the internal lock pins. Scrape off the acrylic residue with a razor, and your cylinder is completely saved without spending a single dime. Every modern homeowner has dealt with snapped plastic mounting tabs, whether it is on a cordless drill casing, a chainsaw engine shroud, a weed trimmer cover, or a heavy laptop display hinge. Modern manufacturers make these housings out of ABS or polycarbonate with razor-thin walls that shatter the moment a tool takes a minor fall. If you try to fix this with regular superglue, the shearing force from tightening the mounting screw will snap the joint immediately. Here is how you reconstruct structural mass that is actually stronger than the original molded plastic. First, wipe the broken joint with isopropyl alcohol and scuff the surrounding area with 80 grit sandpaper to create mechanical anchoring grooves. Next, align the broken tab and apply a tiny drop of glue to tack it in place. Now build a structural fillet. Pour a small pyramid of baking soda along both sides of the seam, creating a 45-degree support gusset. Saturate the dry powder with thin liquid superglue. In less than 1 second, the powder turns into a rock-solid structural gusset. Once cured, take a needle file or rotary sanding drum to contour the weld. You now have a solid acrylic reinforcing rib that distributes mechanical tension across the entire housing, preventing the joint from ever cracking again. What happens when a steel machine bolt strips its threads inside an aluminum casing or a heavy plastic tool frame? Usually, people think their only options are installing a $50 helicoil insert or tossing the entire tool in the scrap bin. But because cured cyanoacrylate bicarbonate composite possesses a Sheared D hardness exceeding 85, you can actually cut clean, durable machine threads directly into the cured rock. Here is the exact procedure. Take the stripped hole and blow out all loose debris. Fill the void completely with dry baking soda, packing it down tightly with the blunt end of a drill bit. Slowly introduce water-thin superglue into the center of the powder. The liquid will wick down to the very bottom of the void through capillary action, turning the entire stripped cavity into a solid synthetic plug within 3 seconds. Let it cure for 2 minutes. Chuck a standard high-speed steel twist drill sized for your target thread tap, for example, a 5mm bit for an M6 thread. Drill straight down through the center of the acrylic plug. Now, take your thread tap with a drop of light machine oil and thread it directly into the hole. The tap cuts clean, razor-sharp spiral grooves into the synthetic stone. When you tighten your steel bolt back into place, it torques down to factory spec without stripping or slipping. When a pinhole leak develops in a copper water line, a PVC drainage pipe, or an aluminum equipment radiator in the middle of a sub-zero winter night, you cannot always shut off the system and wait 3 days for a plumbing supply house to open. Rubber tape and hose clamps will slowly weep under pressure. But this acrylic weld can create a permanent high-pressure hydraulic patch when applied with a structural matrix. Here is the secret. You never apply the powder alone to a pipe. You use a cotton or fiberglass mesh carrier. First, relieve system line pressure and thoroughly dry the pipe surface with a clean cloth. Wrap the leaking seam tightly with 2 layers of medical gauze or clean cotton thread. Dust the entire wrapped section generously with baking soda so the powder settles deep into the fabric fibers. Now, saturate the wrap with liquid cyanoacrylate. The cotton fibers combine with the sodium bicarbonate and adhesive, forming a fiber-reinforced composite shell identical to industrial fiberglass pipe wrap. Within 60 seconds, the patch cures into a rock-hard composite collar capable of holding over 80 psi of hydraulic pressure. While baking soda is the undisputed king of fast basic catalysis, old-timer pattern makers and woodturners had another related secret when restoring antique furniture, hand tool totes, and cast iron machinery: changing the catalyst medium to match the workpiece material. If you are repairing a cracked walnut chisel handle or a gouged wooden plane sole, baking soda leaves a bright white seam. Instead, collect fine 2040 grit hardwood sanding dust from the same species of wood. Fill the structural gouge with the wood dust and saturate it with thin cyanoacrylate. The natural moisture and cellulose fibers catalyze the glue, creating an invisible, stainable wooden weld with identical grain density. For cast iron machinery bases, use fine powdered charcoal or powdered graphite. The carbon particles blend into the dark iron, creating a heat-resistant, vibration-dampening filler that blends seamlessly into vintage workshop tools. Before you run out to your workbench to test this, there are 3 critical mistakes that cause 90% of people to fail. Mistake number 1, using gel superglue. Gel formulations contain rubberized thickeners that prevent the glue from wicking through dry baking soda. Always use water-thin liquid cyanoacrylate for maximum capillary penetration. Mistake number 2, adding glue first and dumping powder on top. This creates a hard outer crust while leaving liquid glue trapped underneath. Always place the dry powder first in thin layers, then wick the liquid glue into it. Mistake number 3, inhaling the fumes. The rapid exothermic polymerization releases localized acetic vapor and heat. Always work in a well-ventilated space and keep your face back during the initial 2-second reaction. Remember, self-reliance is not about buying every new gadget on a shelf. It is about understanding the fundamental properties of materials and knowing how to make what you already have last a lifetime. Until next time, keep your tools clean, take pride in your work, and fix it right the first time.